Hey everyone, what is going on? My name's MrWombat and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I've got a very special one for you where I react to all 4 episodes of the Payday documentary series that's been released to celebrate 10 years of the Payday franchise. So in this video, I'm taking my reactions from each of the days that the documentary went up, 3 of which were recorded live on Twitch, 1 of which is about to be recorded for me right now, you'll see later. So episodes 1, 2, and 3 were recorded live on stream with live chat, so you can see the interactions there because I wanted to make it a big event for people to watch with me. And episode 4, the only reason there isn't a Twitch reaction for that is because I was actually part of the 10th anniversary live stream, which was mental. There's plenty I can talk about that in another video, no doubt, but I will just say it was so cool to be a part of that stream. It truly, truly was. I can't express to you how much fun I had being a part of that stream, but because of that, I did not want to mess up trying to stream a reaction to the documentary episode whilst also getting ready for stream, so I didn't. I have seen the episode in bits, but I'm excited to watch it in full later. So, I'm going to first off show my reactions to episodes 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to stop talking so you can watch them and enjoy them, and I will see you all in episode 4 when we get to that recording shortly. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the video. What we're going to be doing, folks, is we're going to first off be reacting to the first episode of the 10 Years of Payday documentary. I was contacted about this a week or two ago now. A guy who was working alongside Starbreeze wants to get in touch and basically interview me about my time with Overkill as a partner, as a content creator, as a player of Payday 2 in general. He asked me a whole bunch of different stuff about me, about the game, what I think makes the game so good, about the community and all sorts of stuff, and said that my face might pop up every now and again in the show. I did not know my face would appear within the first 30 seconds of the premiere, or just after the first 30 seconds, so that's wild to me. But from what I know, it's going to be a 4-part documentary. Am I correct in saying that? I think it's 4 parts, and it basically explores different aspects of the history of Payday, and talks about them in detail. So what we're going to do in this Twitch stream, and potentially YouTube video if you're seeing this on YouTube, hello everyone, is we're going to just kick back, relax, and react to it and see what's being said. I might not have much to say. It might just be me watching it and staring at the screen for 10 minutes. I hope it's not. If it is, then ad revenue. Okay, I can't make that joke because I'll sound too money hungry, but you get the point. I don't know how much I'll be able to say about the documentary, but I'm very excited. You know, it's kind of cool for there to be some kind of docu-series for Payday, so I'm really excited to see what it's like. But, yeah. So, without any further ado, let's give it a watch, shall we? Let's see what's going on in 10 Years of Payday Episode 1. Let's go.
It's a long story. Like, the origin of the game is a long story, right? So...
Can we just talk about... I love our, like, immediate interruption. Simon and Ulf! I honestly wasn't sure how well, how easily Ulf would come back for a Payday thing. I suppose for an event like this, it's easier, but he's one I still really desperately want to interview. And I've always been hesitant to get in touch with him because I wasn't sure how comfortable he was talking about, like, the Payday stuff still. Because, you know, obviously he doesn't work anymore and he might want to move and do his own thing. So, I might well get in touch with him. I might well do that. It'd be cool to interview him. It really would. I'd love to chat to him. I really, really would. So... Right, come on, let's see what we've got. Okay, the audio wasn't quite in sync there on the minigun. let's just ignore that. Let's just ignore that. Episode 1, The Origin. Okay. The variants of the Payday... Oh god, I'm there! I'm right there immediately! Jeez! Okay, so Ulf speaks and then I speak immediately afterwards. What an honour! Sheesh! Not to ride on the meme, but sheesh, chat. I'm there immediately! Madness! Madness! Okay, what do I say? I don't even remember what I said. The variants the Payday 2 has is so unique to the game.
A lot of variety.
I stand by it.
There's always something that makes you come back to the game.
Okay, do I want to have a little army of sentry guns? I can do that. Do I want to be a sniper that can take out 10 people with one shot? I can do that instead.
Wow, these people seem familiar to me. Random Kenny as well, oh my god!
A bad guy?
There's not that many very much games like it.
It is a game where you've got 20 plus characters to pick from. You've got all these, you know, different weapons you can choose, the different skill sets. It caters to about every... And wearing the same hat. God, I'm so on brand. Oh, wow. This is wild. This is so crazy. What the hell?
2008, we went bankrupt. That
9.
9.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did a bunch of games. And then most of them sucked. So we went bankrupt. And that led to us trying our hand at we're starting a new company first.
Yeah, we went from 250 people
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, starting over at we were 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something like that.
It's so crazy,
And
the
we
success story,
borrowed,
really.
This basement and had it out as our office.
Yeah, we borrowed it from Fat Shark,
Yeah, Fat Shark were kind enough.
another developer.
Yeah. It was their warehouse, sort of.
We had a small kitchen with a microwave oven.
Oh wow, and he's currently the lead programmer on Payday 3, so he's been there since the start as well then. So this guy's been here since the beginning and he hasn't gone. Wow, we're looking at a real OG here. And it's really weird hearing them talk about it after having spoken to Simon about it. I mean, not to plug my stuff for a hot minute, but if you haven't seen my interview with Simon Viklund, he talked about this whole thing in a lot more detail, and it's so interesting just to grasp the how low the chances were of them actually managing to pull this off. You know, they were in a company that collapsed, that went bankrupt, and they just went, what do we do? Make a new company and do another game, as you do. I mean, honestly, like, the hustle they put into it, they got the success they deserved. It took them a while, but they made it. They really did.
Someone turned it on, the power usually went out. But yeah, good ideas came from that anyway, so very happy to kind of have that moment in our development. It didn't start with Payday. It didn't start with actually being a heisting game either.
Me and a guy called Ilya was trying to do an FPS up and running with the team. We're like fooling around with that, trying to get psyched up, but I had no energy to do like sci-fi stuff. So I guess I just like brushed off the old heist theme again.
We know there are a lot of good movies about it, but
Yep.
there are not really any good games being made around that topic.
Yeah, the idea was to make a game where you can live that sort of fantasy. You can be a Robert De Niro's character in Heat, and you can run into the bank and scream, "Everybody get the fuck down!" And then you see the civilians throw themselves to the ground, and you sort of hunker down around the vault, and you're drilling through the metal and the...
It's a good point, really, when you think about it as well, because obviously, you know, now we've got GTA 5, which I know is another big like game with heists in, but the point still stands that a game that is purely based on heisting, there isn't another one out there. Like, not to the same caliber, not to the same style, not in the same way as Payday, the Heist, or Payday 2, or presumably however Payday 3 is going to be. You're not going to have a game like it. They really did. I honestly can't believe there wasn't a game like this before, genuinely. And maybe, of course, there were games out there at some point in history that maybe didn't succeed, didn't take off the way people wanted to, or, you know, weren't very well received critically. There are obviously chances that there are games out there that, you know, went under the radar, but in terms of just getting out in there in the mainstream, I can't believe it took this long for a game to come out, but they saw a gap, they went for it, and it worked. It really did. Also, yes, okay, I haven't liked the video. I was going to like it anyway. There we go. It's likes now. Are you happy? Okay, cool.
The police are sort of barricading the building, and SWATs are coming through the skylights with you know, rappelling down on ropes, and yeah, the chaos and the action.
I really wish I had the nostalgia of and played the first game, but it wasn't on Xbox 360,
a lot of
so...
us can relate to this idea of breaking free from commitments and the pressure and everything
Yeah,
that
the
goes
new game
into
director.
daily life with work and other aspects that are part of our routines and whatnot, and just breaking free from that and living a life of crime guided by kind of your own just sheer willpower and not letting anything stop you. I think that is very much an escapist fantasy that's very powerful. Then looking at Payday as a game, I mean, it's incredibly well conceived in terms of its foundations. The core experience, the formula of the game, I think, is very, very strong.
Wow. So they're making the actual masks. That's pretty cool. I like that.
I think the character creation was basically, and the way we portray them, I think, I have to say, it's all you, Simon.
Well, the thing is with how Wolf really ended up in the game is we would record placeholder voices, And we were standing in the office with a mattress in a corner, facing the mattress with a microphone in front of us. Just this makeshift sort of recording booth.
That's another thing. I am just trying to add commentary to try and make it a bit more unique here, but there is stuff I actually want to share, like that I've learned. I always thought it was so funny that, you know, you have these iconic characters like Bane and Wolf and obviously Dallas, etc. But for Bane and Wolf specifically, and also Ilya the Sniper and, you know, people along those lines, that you go, oh, how did the people that work behind the game also end up voicing the characters? Like, did they want to try their hand at voice acting? Did they think that their voice lent very well to character? No, it was just to save money. Like, at the end, that's literally it. They were just there to save money, which is just crazy. Like, you have to respect it. You have to respect it because it then worked, and they still ended up with characters that were fantastically well received. I mean, Bane, everyone, like, all the memes people make now, you know, of Bane and Payday, you know, even the Russian Badger stuff recently, you know, Bane, I'm in Minecraft. Like, the characters are so iconic, and so many of them come from people who just wanted to save money in a company and so went, I'll voice this character, why not? It's kind of wild.
Your voice is sort of a weapon as well. Like you press your mouse button and you shoot, and then you press the, I think it's F, and then you scream. And that's also sort of a weapon. Yeah. And it turned out that Ulf has a absolutely phenomenal screaming voice.
Come with me, Paxton. We're gonna make it.
So the placeholder voices, we were like, we can't replace Ulf.
Yeah.
Hurry! Move!
I guess the argument that got me over to you know, doing it is basically if Simon was doing the story sort of guiding voice, and we had at least one team member from our team, but one character being played, we could always like do fillers and quick pickups and that kind of thing.
I would infuse respect in anyone. They'll be back for more within minutes, though.
At that point, obviously, we didn't know that it was going to be a rather popular game, and that it would be a sequel. But I just did the voice, and I thought that this voice has to cut through the noise and the you know, the gunfire and everything, and it's going to be distorted because it's in your earpiece, sort of, and it needs to cut through. So I didn't want to use my normal voice. I went up here and I added a little bit of like hoarseness or like so that the distortion would sort of hook onto that sort of raspiness of the voice and be more like a sharper sound.
And I think that's the advantage of having your sound guy being the one who's in charge of also recording the lines of the guy giving the commentary, because obviously he knows what he needs to hear. You know, if he wasn't providing the voice of the guy who is playing Bane, if some other guy had been brought in to play Bane, he'd still have overseen him and told him how he needs to be. So he's just cut the middleman out and gone, right, this is how it needs to sound. I'm going to put my voice up here and make it raspy and then put a filter on it. And it's like he knows immediately how to do it. And yeah, it was kind of wild hearing him just jump to it like that immediately. It's like, you know, it's like riding a bike. You never forget it. He'll just be able to, he can dust off the voice whenever he wants to, if he wants, I guess.
That cuts through. But it's really... I hate doing the voice.
Hope we can work together again in the future.
He did say he was glad to get rid of it in a way.
We went to E3 in 2011. We had not announced that we were making this game. I don't even think that we had announced that we existed as a company.
We had printed merchandise with
that's brave.
Stone Cold as logo. We had, I believe, we had coffee cups, we had T-shirts, and we had a couple of other things. The Sony Online Entertainment called us basically 1 or 2 days before us going to this event, and said that we can't use Stone Cold, and the reason is because there is a American wrestler named Stone Cold.
Wow.
So yeah, we had to change it, and we were like battling on the. Or like trying to come up with a good name.
And we just bounced ideas around. Like there was a lot of ideas. We wanted to get the idea of heisting into the title.
Now this I didn't know.
Play coup and so on.
And I think it was Martin that just gave up on us and walks out of the room. We were in the kitchen. We spent like 2 hours or something. I can't remember. And then
we had some good ideas like Crime Wave. And
pops back in.
I blurted out Payday.
Payday? That's my memory of it, at least. Like, that's a good idea.
No, I feel I remember Simon saying something like that to me, but just Stone Cold, is it just me, or Stone Cold, is that kind of like not a very good name. I'm kind of glad that that wasn't the name. I don't know. Yeah, Stone Cold's a bit. It's a good song name, and I'm guessing that's why one of the tracks they made later down the line was called Stone Cold. But no, I mean, obviously it's a stupid thing to say because obviously it makes sense, but you can't imagine it being called anything other than Payday. It seems like just such an iconic name for it. Like, what else would you call it, you know? What else would you call it? Crime Wave would have worked, but still not quite as good. Well, yeah, we had the Crime Wave edition, so they still managed to bring that one back around.
Everyone kind of agreed, yeah, Payday works. We can do that. And I had to go back and change everything in the game as well to actually say Payday instead of Stone Cold and make new merchandise.
Oh, yeah, extend all the merchandise. Oh. Simon, you good there, bro? Are you okay there? Are you okay? Wow, and with the masks there, and that's in 2011. Oh my god. And so it begins.
The past 10 years during Payday's lifetime
Almir
changed in many ways, and we've improved, but more so the people inside the studio, those of us who, some of us have remained during the past 10 years, some newers. I think what's so important to realize is that everything we've been through with Payday and everything else has shaped us as a team and has formed us into this group of people that not only care about each other and our own experiences and making sure that we can make the best games that we can together, but also about the players and the journey they've taken through all of this.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, it's no more true now than any other time after COVID and after all of the financial stuff. I mean, I'm no doubt they're going to explore that in another episode, or at least touch on it. They're bound to. But, like, you know, how many companies can you say went into near bankruptcy and came and bounced back thanks to the support of the community and stuff? I mean, if they'd come back and made more DLC for Payday 2 and nobody really bit on it, then they would have been screwed. You know, they have such a loyal community that stuck with them when they showed up and went, you know how we said we had money, we don't have money, help us, and people helped. Like, you know, they've got such a hardcore team of people behind them, like, both behind the game and playing it. It's kind of like an iconic thing. You know, you can say that you love certain game developers, but are there really many other big game developers out there making big AAA? I'm hesitant to say, but Payday 3 is going to be more of a AAA game. I wouldn't really call Payday 2 a AAA game, but would you really see that ilk of a game where the developers are that closely knit with the community? Because think about GTA 5, Rockstar. To say they're out of touch with their community, whoo! Yeah, Oppressor Mark 2. We all asked for that, didn't we? But no, seriously. I think legitimately having the support that they've had as a company, both from the people who work there and the people who support them as players and as just general fans of the franchise, it's so unique to Payday and so special. And it's part of what's so unique about it, you know, even in a game about money, that despite having their own money problems, they managed to get through it. They managed to pull through. And that's what matters, and that's what's so kind of beautifully poetic about it, that I really like anyway.
I think Payday's popularity stems out of two things, really. One is us, the developers behind the game.
He's going to say what I've just said.
The thoughts we have about the designs, where to take it, what features to add and not. And the other part is the community.
100%.
What they'd like to see, and how well we interact with each other. I think through that, you get Payday.
Yeah, exactly. That's what's so unique about the game. It's so fan-driven. And that is the end of the first episode. Well. Okie dokie. Nothing at the end. No, just a Starbreeze logo. Yeah. Wow, I really like that. You see, I'm getting more into documentaries. I've been watching loads of the Marvel documentaries for, like, making of all the MCU stuff. I like getting to know more about the kind of the background behind stuff like this. How did you handle your own cameo? Caught me off guard. They asked me to do an interview a couple of weeks ago. I just couldn't say anything because NDA. but yeah, they asked me to do a big, large interview, and I'm guessing more parts of that will pop up going forward. But it's just so wild that in the first episode, the only other person to speak before me is Ulf Andersson. Ulf speaks, And then there's my face. I haven't quite processed that yet. I have not quite processed that. Oh, that's surreal. That is actually surreal. 10 Years of Payday, episode 2. There we go. And I like it immediately this time so that you all can not criticize me. And this will be jumping in immediately like it's for the YouTube reaction because I'm planning to put these all together into 4 parts. So, welcome back, YouTube. So, yes, episode 2. This one's shorter. And I don't know what they're going to be talking about. I know it's called The Redemption, so I'm guessing it's going to be discussing some of Overkill's darker times, aka monetary and community mistakes, but I don't know for sure. So we're not going to hang around too much. I want to see this, and I want to talk about it. So let's see what 10 Years of Payday Episode 2 has to offer. Off we go. Let's see what we've got.
We put something out there, and we have a negative reaction. Okay, there's 2 ways that you could be frustrated about this. You could be frustrated that, oh, I have to do what someone else thinks, or I have to deal with the fact that we have a community. Like, that's the wrong type of frustration. The right type of frustration is that, we got this wrong. We shouldn't have done this, and this is something that we can do better next time.
Okay. But did Eric work at Overkill before Payday 3? I don't think he did he? So it'll be interesting to hear his perspective. Unless he did. I don't know. It doesn't say that he did on the documentary, so I don't know. Let's see. Oh, thanks to the resub, CM. Appreciate it.
Dallas, my friend, the devil. It's in the details. Fuck me.
I mean, the community is kind of a living being in a sense, and it's kind of hard to...
Oh, Liz!
You have
Hey!
so many different groups within the community. You have the hardcore players that have, been playing the game since Payday the High, since launch, and they know every detail. They know way more than
Oh, and she's in the chat. Hello, Liz.
They will sometimes educate me
about
the product that I'm working on. But then you also have players who maybe only recently heard about Payday and coming in and were, I'm the one who teach them.
The community plays a very big part. Oh, hello again. Hello, there's me. Wild. Okay, that's creepy. No, that's true, because Liz has said this to me, obviously, because she's not worked Overkill for eons of years. I mean, when did you start? Was it 2018, Liz? 2017, 2018? I can't remember the year off the top of my head because I'm not a good friend. I apologize. I swear it's 2018. Oh, it was 2018. I'm a better friend than I thought. There we go. But it's so weird having that pause with me there, with me right there, and me here. That I don't like that. That's weird. But yeah, like I've noticed in particular, especially recently, there's a lot of new players coming in. A lot of people. I'm getting a lot of comments about it. I'm seeing a lot of things on Twitter about people who are new to Payday. So it's definitely like an ever-growing community. That's just a fact. We know this. How the game is shaped, especially more recently, where they've been doing a lot of weapon rebalancing. It's been very, very community-focused, getting people's feedback and thoughts on things. I think it's very fair to say that a lot of games these days, and it kind of goes back to what I said with, something that's unique about Payday 2, a lot of games these days, they take community responses and feedback, but I don't think they do it nearly to the level that Payday does.
If we do something...
Wow, that was a big snippet. Jeez, I was on screen for like 20 seconds then, man. That's madness. But it's true. I can't elaborate on that because it was me speaking. It's true. We move.
Wrong. Community doesn't like it. We can change it. We don't have to stick with things. We can always okay, we thought it was good. Maybe not. Let's remove it. That's the worst case, of course. But let's change it. Let's do something. Let's see what the community thinks it could be. Maybe it's just not super broken. Maybe it's just modifying it a little bit.
Thanks, host.
Even the people who will send maybe not the nicest messages, but they do it from a place of passion because they really do love the game. The game has been, the game has been around for so long. It's a part of everyone's life in such a meaningful way. And so when we maybe do something that they don't really like, they will be incredibly passionate about telling us that they don't like this.
The community is a really big part of the development of Payday 2 as a whole, and as Payday as a whole.
That's true. Anyone else in the chat saying it's too quiet? If it is, I can always turn it up, but it looks like it's the same volume that it was for me yesterday, so I kind of don't want to mess around with it.
Looking back, I mean, 10 years is a long time for any game, and
yeah.
Payday 2 specifically, I mean, we've had over 200 updates for the game. And if there's one thing I would have redone or changed up somehow, it's definitely the microtransaction scandal of 2015.
Oh, okay. What are they saying about this then?
There's been argument over the years about whether or not some of the DLCs are microtransactions, but the first official one that broke the community was safes.
Look who fucking made it here. Ooh.
When they added those in, the entire community.
Ooh, how are we discussing this?
What happened really was that we broke the trust of the players, and while our intentions were good, the intentions don't matter if you don't do it right and get the players' respect, right? And we lost that there.
It was really unfortunate, just timing of it, because on the first day of the event, there were these microtransactions that nobody liked. Everything blew up. And then the heist centered around them released the day after, and it was called Aftershock, and it's like...
That's true.
Was just unfortunate.
Yeah, that's not a good idea. No. Oh, yeah, true. Again, the thing that you have to remember, and I've said this before, but the thing you got to remember is that I was on console at this point. This was 2015. This was October 2015, a la just after the release of Crime of Edition on Xbox One. So I'd gotten the game on Xbox One, having already known about it since 2014, but like I played it a bit on 360 and then didn't play it much after because there wasn't much to the game and it didn't grab me like to the way I hoped it would. But when I got it in July of 2015, absolutely loved what I was playing, was aware they weren't getting updates on console and things were a little bit out of sync, but had no idea of exactly what was going on the PC forums. I didn't follow PC stuff for years. It was more the YouTube side of things that got me to focus on that stuff. You know, to actually look into it and say, well, what really is missing here? Like, what is going on? And at that point, then everything, I started to catch them and go, oh, right, okay, there's been stuff. But that was like 2017, so this had been and gone. And I think actually I remember seeing the trailer, the little clip where they said all saves are going to be made free, or the drills are going to be made free, and I had no idea what it meant. I had absolutely no idea. So, yeah, that's the weird thing of a console player, soon-to-be console content creator for Payday. I had no idea what this was about at the time. So, I've got a weird perspective where even though I was playing the game back then, I haven't got the same reflection because I didn't know about it, you know? I didn't have that back knowledge. I've learned about it in retrospect.
Initially, when they went with that decision to introduce microtransactions into the game, it was not well thought out and wasn't in the community's best interest.
They made a deal with me, and I made a deal with them. They're gonna make me rich. I'm gonna make you rich.
Bow to overkill when he said, let's add safes to the game.
And we had a huge argument. And those heisters out there who were part of it know that, yeah, we fought. And I had to defend myself and us, you know, as a group of developers through a 2-hour live stream, you know, with hundreds of people heckling us, it felt like. But, you know, being serious, you know, being fans of the game and feeling that we had screwed them over.
Call me crazy, call me insane.
Oh dear. Oh. Yep.
Starbreeze kind of learned how much they could push the envelope. I think the community, in a sense, learned how much power they have over Payday, but at the same time, that things can get a bit messy if they try to push that too far as well. So it was a learning experience for everyone.
Oh yeah, they definitely learned about what they needed to do. It took a while to get there, but they figured a way to sort of add more community interaction with it as well, which I thought was a really smart idea.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, looking back on all of this now, again, I can't give the best perspective because I wasn't there at the time, obviously. I didn't know what was going on. But for me, as game controversies go, this seems like it's one of the better ones because, yes, it was a problem. Yes, it annoyed everyone. And yes, it caused a lot of backlash. But they did back up on it reasonably quickly because it was quite quickly. They made the safes free and then they got rid of everything altogether. They made a quick redemption, then made a full one like the next year. So there was that. But also, it was a sign that it was, you know, that they were going to listen to the community more. And if it takes a big crisis to do that, then it's not the best situation. You'd rather they just listen to the community properly to begin with. And they were listening at the time, but I think they became far more aware and far more, like, attentive to what the community wants after this. And, you know, of course, they've not done everything perfect since that point, but to me, it shows because they've never really had a controversy as big as that one ever again, and I doubt they will, because they know how to keep their community happy, at least to a decent extent, you know? And what I'm noticing is that this episode's about to go, and I kind of thought they'd talk about consoles, but I don't think they have.
Given everything we've been through with Payday, we're on the right track. A lot thanks to the community and their support of Payday.
Wow, that's in colour. Excuse me? Where's the colour release of that? Thank God, that never released in colour, that clip, did it? Or did it? I thought that was black and white footage they put out of that. Weird. Interesting that this one was all about the black market stuff. I honestly, because what I can say, I don't even know how much I'm allowed to say about the interview, but what I can say is when I was asked about, like, some of the more, like, controversial stuff about Payday 2, I personally spent a lot of time talking about consoles, more so than I did for microtransactions, for obvious reasons. Obviously, I don't know what within that they're going to use, if anything. Because obviously I don't... It's NDA. No, that's okay. Don't worry. That's all right. I can say what I spoke about a little bit. I just can't go into massive details. But legitimately, to me, personally, Time to One Partner... Shut up, Liz. You know, you don't tease me about that. I don't appreciate that. Don't upset me. No, seriously. I'm wondering whether they will talk about that. There's 2 episodes left, and I can't remember what the names of the episodes are because my brain is just not functioning. But I wonder if they're going to talk about it now, because I think the last one's about the future, so that must be talking about, like, the rest of Payday 2 and then Payday 3. But I did honestly hope they'd mention consoles. Am I surprised they didn't? I can't say I am, purely because Overkill just want to pretend console don't exist at this point. That's not an insult at them or some kind of shade I'm trying to throw. It's just a fact. You know, they will tweet out and say that if there's ever console news, there will be, but we all know that's never going to happen at this point, okay? It's just not. So I honestly feel as though they're not going to even address it as much as they can now. I don't know. Redemption, Legacy. This one was the Redemption. So maybe it's like Legacy in the future or something. I don't know. There's 2 more to go, though. So we will see what happens in episodes 3 and 4 and go from there. So if this ends up being a YouTube video, because I'm so indecisive I still don't know, then I will see you all in episode 3, and maybe we'll find out. All right, ladies and gents, so here we go. Episode 3. I believe this one is called The Impact. So the impact of the game on the community, etc. So let's have a look and see what they've got to say in this episode. Off we go.
One of the more funny memories is that we were at the Tokyo Game Show, and somehow, I can't remember how, we got in touch with Harada-san. And if you don't know who that is, he's the producer of Tekken, the fighting games. He told me he was such a big fan of Payday and that him and the team were playing it all the time, and every time he'd be at an airport waiting and wasting time, he would just boot up Payday on his laptop and rob a bank. And I thought that was
crazy.
So cool, you know, because you will find heisters in the most...
Oh my god, that picture of Almir with Carl and then with the Tekken producer. Wow, that's madness. That's madness. I love how, is it just me or does Carl look a bit like Aaron out of The Walking Dead with a thick beard? I don't know. That's just a weird thought I've had before, but I just thought I'd mention that. Probably no one else is thinking that. That's such a cool picture, though, and it must be so cool when, you know, game developers from other games that you play or at least have heard of and know are popular say that they like your games. That's kind of wild. That is kind of crazy. I think I will just slide the volume up a little bit. There we go.
Peculiar places.
There we go. All right. Episode 3. Here we go. That audio is still wildly out of sync, you lot. I don't know what the editing was going on there. No, bruh. Alright, episode 3, The Impact. Here we go.
The community to us is incredibly important. You cannot have a game that lasts for this long without a community. The game
well said.
Dead in the water without our players. So
yep.
You know, it's incredibly important. We wouldn't be where we are without them. It's
what we've said so many times, especially with the controversy episode. You know, the community have been there and they help guide the game in the right direction. The community has been a really important part, so it's good that they're acknowledging that. They don't have any choice.
December 13th, and I am going to
shave his beard. Oh my god, I remember when this video went out.
over the years, my role,
Oh my
like
God.
my individual role at Starbreeze has changed like rapidly. Originally, I was a producer on Payday the Heist, the Wolfpack DLC.
Bodie's pool repair. We'll send our guys over right away.
Blimey.
And then on Payday 2, we developed that game together with the crew and put it out the door. But since then, I've become the guardian of sorts of the Payday IP and the players, and some kind of internal representative together with the rest of the community team, Elisabeth and Sebastian.
Thank you so much, every heister out there, for supporting us throughout all these years. 7 million heisters, that's the largest community on Steam.
A lot of my time is spent reading what you, the community, are talking about. I will read the Steam forums to see what kind of topics are being discussed at the moment. I will go on Twitter, see what people are tweeting at us, see what people are tweeting about us.
The good and the bad.
If you ever were a person who wrote one of those, here's the 10 things I want to see in Payday 3 lists on YouTube or Steam.
I'm sorry, what was that, Eric?
If you ever were a person who wrote one of those, here's the 10 things I want to see in Payday 3 lists on YouTube.
Now, I wonder who he's talking about there. I mean, to be fair, that I know he did the same thing, and I'm pretty sure Beecroft did the same thing, but I'm the partner, so I'm taking the credit. Allow it. No, okay, jokes aside. It's still cool. It's good that they watch those videos. I mean, it's those that are made, with the game in mind, and it's important the developers watch those kind of videos. And of course, you can't base everything off the videos those people make, because they are just made by singular people, and their opinions do not necessarily voice the entire community. But it's nice because you don't just get to see what they think, you also get to see what the comment section says, and that can sometimes be more telling than the video itself.
Or the Steam forums or anywhere else, really. That probably has gotten in a document of mine.
A community showing interest means that they will be very vocal about their opinions.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of good ideas.
I've been following you and your crew for some time now. It's quite impressive what you did with the election, with such poor planning. I have no idea what you're talking about.
One thing that I think we have learned now is that once you release your game, it's no longer your game.
Yeah.
That's a community's game.
Ron Perlman.
They showed up.
They always show up. Especially if there's good money in it.
So you need any more convincing?
One group of players in particular
Go on.
needs a shout out, and I think that is the modders out there.
There's a lot of
Wow.
talented mod makers.
Okay, wasn't expecting this. I was wondering when they were going to go there. I still would like to see them mention console a little bit, because they really haven't touched on that at all. But this is interesting.
Out there that keep things. That's where the really wacky stuff comes in.
Oh my god. Matt Hell's getting the credit he deserves. Oh my god.
They've done such an incredible job over the years in helping us.
No, you didn't. Why did you edit this? Why did you put a piece of toast on Almir's face in the edit? Someone took the time to edit that.
Such an incredible job over the years in helping us along the sidelines improve Payday as an experience for the rest of the community. And I think that's such a cool thing that these players, they usually don't have the time to play the game themselves, because they spend their time making tools and stuff and content for other players to enjoy who play the game. And that's where they find their enjoyment.
You see,
yeah,
I need my Payday too.
Payday 2 modding community is massive. There's just so many things in the modding you can do. People are like, years ago, people weren't making their own heists. Now people are just making their own whole levels. They're doing their own.
Yeah,
voice
it's
acting.
fantastic. There's a great modding
it's just,
community.
Like, such a big part of the community now.
Yeah.
People find friends through this.
It makes me sad. I don't want to be too depressing. It makes me sad seeing the Payday Con conventions that they did in the past and not having been at one of them. I was so keen to go to one, but it was at the point where I was still like a little bit like teetering on the minor / not quite old enough age. I think I was like 16, 17 at the time, and I was getting some independence, but I was not at the point of flying out to another country to go to a gaming convention. Like now I would do that quite happily, like if it was a big thing and I could afford it, obviously, but like it's not, at the time it wasn't something I wanted to do. And I remember they said the next one they were going to do was Europe. They were going to do a Payday Con in Europe in 2017 was the plan. And it never happened. Well, actually, I don't know whether it was meant to be in 2017, but they said in Payday Con in 2016, or whenever the last one was, the next one was going to be in Europe. But it never happened. And it's heartbreaking. It really, really is heartbreaking. And I want them to do another one. They know it was popular, and especially with how popular the game's becoming again now. I know it never really became dead per se, whatever the memes and the merch say. But, like, legitimately, it became such a big thing, and it's becoming such a big thing again now, perhaps more so than before, that they could easily pull off a Comic-Con like that anywhere, even if it was a small thing, and people would turn up. The actors would come because they love that stuff, and the players and the content creators like me would easily turn up, I really want them to do another Payday Con. I really, really do, and I hope it's not too far away if they are going to do one.
They can, match make with anyone and end up and play with anyone, and then maybe they actually have fun together, and they can, okay, let's play one more time together, and let's be friends on Steam together, and then suddenly, they actually form some kind of friendship, and they go to one of the events, and E3 dressed in cosplay, and that's very powerful.
So many of the people closest to me in my life that I wouldn't trade for anything, as well as the Rusty Chains community that we've built from our streams and our Discord and stuff, all
he's staring into my soul.
From Payday.
I have friends here in Melbourne that I've met through Payday that I go out and just hang out with.
Yeah.
It's been really cool to interact with all the different content creators.
Hello.
Also friends through the game. I think that's something that I really do owe it to Payday 2 for allowing me to do that. I think it's fantastic. And it goes back to what I said about community. There are so many lovely and welcoming people who play the game that you do feel right at home.
And I stand by it. There's a better quote there that I'm not trying to be an egotistical person, obviously. I'm just kind of grateful that I'm in all these episodes so far. It's kind of wild, but I think it was a waste. I gave them a big bit about what I've said. I think I've said on stream before about how my friend group on Xbox come from Payday 2. There was a great little story that I said about how I played one heist of Watch Dogs with one of my buddies, Pat, and I never invited people into my Xbox party back then. I never did. I still don't really do it now. But I just thought this one time I'll invite the people in my lobby into a party and we'll talk as we're playing the heist. And the only one I really hit it off with was this guy, Pat, and we became best mates like that. And then he introduced me to his friends, and we became this big group. I brought a couple people in that I knew, and we became this kind of like amalgamation of people, and it only happened because of Payday on Xbox. And it was a really cool little story, and I was kind of hoping they might have included it here, but they haven't, which is a bit of a shame. But it's a true thing that legitimately, it is an absolutely fantastic game. The ability that it has to bring together different people and to bring people together in community, for you to make friends, for you to have these kind of lifelong friendships form because of a game is beautiful. And it happens so much with Payday 2, and it is crazy. It really is. Also, hello, Red. I'm glad that Payday's Twitter page brought you here. That's very cool. But yeah, the community is such an important part. And I love how involved the actors get, like Eric and Damien. It's so cool. Oh, the tattoo there, blimey. Oh, and that's the end of the episode, right? Okay, never mind. Should have waited right until the end to make a comment about that. But that was episode 3. All I will say, so far, I have really been enjoying this documentary, but I am disappointed that console hasn't been mentioned. Because at the end of the day, from where I'm sat, they tried to address the controversies in episode 2, and it's very, very, very clear to me that in that episode, console should have been talked about. And I'm very, very upset and a little bit disappointed they haven't done that. Because I know the microtransaction thing was a big thing in the news and was a really big crisis. But it does make me sad that console hasn't been mentioned, They're saying they want to give a special shout out to the modding community, and they deserve it. The work they've put in is fantastic, but what about all the console players that have spent so long in the shadows waiting for DLC updates, like myself? The only reason that I'm doing stuff on PC is because there's nothing on console. We've had this discussion 50 million times before. If I had to choose between console and PC videos, I'd still be doing console to this day. That's just a fact. And I am a little bit disappointed. I know this... Overkill didn't make this whole documentary themselves, okay? There are other people involved here that have made this documentary. I don't know how much I can say behind the scenes, because obviously it's not my place to say that, but there are people that, you know, that make these things that aren't in-house at Overkill. So I don't know who's made the decisions on what stuff to include and what stuff to cut. So I can't blame any particular person for this. And I'm not saying it to start some big fight, right? That's not my point. But all I'm saying is I think that if you're going to look over the history of Payday and you're going to completely ignore consoles, that's a very, very bad move. You know, I get it. The consoles probably aren't ever going to get an update for Payday 2. We know this now. It's in the dust. We know. But it's one thing saying it's not going to happen and making it clear, and their occasional Payday tweets like, you know, consoles, we salute you. It's another thing doing this documentary, looking back on everything in Payday 2, and consoles just not getting a single mention. I have to admit, I am disappointed. Just a little bit. And here we are with episode 4, ladies and gentlemen, with my proper reaction to it. As I said, I've seen this episode already, just about, didn't pay full attention to it, because obviously I was busy getting set up for other stuff, so it'll be good to actually sit and watch this now in full and give my full proper thoughts on it. So ignore the sub goal and the lack of Twitch chat. Obviously, it's the same reaction window, because it's easier, and also will look more visually pleasing for you a lot, for it to not really change going to the 4th episode. So, yeah, let's watch episode 4 and give you my thoughts on it. Here we go. Let's see what we've got for the final episode.
No problem. Come back tomorrow.
Oh, Mira Furlan. Rest in peace.
Moni olisi koska jo. Sama nam treba 5 minuta, ako može.
Well, more like 8 minutes, but yeah, sure.
Of course. Please follow me.
Good intro to the last episode. I like that. Should have used it in one of the ones that was shorter. That would have fit more. But anyway. Let's see what we got for the final one. From what I know, this one is basically just looking towards the future of Payday as a franchise, which you have to do when you got Payday 3 coming out. Obviously, you've got to pay some attention to that. Episode 4, The Legacy.
I mean, 10 years of Payday is such a huge milestone. We started with Payday the Heist.
It's so weird, I've got to say, looking at gameplay for Payday the Heist, especially when I was rewatching the documentary today, looking at the episodes again before this one came out, and just looking at the difference in gameplay aesthetic and quality between even Payday the Heist and Payday 2, let alone what it's going to look like in Payday 3. It's so crazy to think how much the game's come on in leaps and bounds just visually. Even though people say that Payday 2 is not a very visually pleasing game sometimes, I like the kind of comic-y aesthetic to it, where it's not quite realistic, like, photo-wise, but I really like the graphics of Payday 2. I think it looks quite good. Obviously, I'm ready for it to look much better, but for Payday 2, a 2013 game, I think it's always looked pretty decent, I've got to be honest with you.
Then, you know, Payday 2 came along, and it just hit so many more platforms, and it grew so much for there. And we have other adventures as well. I mean, it's not publicly out to everyone yet, but some people have played Payday Crime War in soft launch, and then Payday 3 is coming up, and, you know, we have so many things we can still do.
It's exciting to see what's going to be happening with Payday Crime War, I'll be honest with you. And they mentioned during the live stream that there's going to be a closed beta launching in December that you can apply for in November. So it'd be cool to see that coming back out and getting a proper release.
We're not ready to stop yet. We're here for another 10 years, and we want to know what the community wants to do for the next 10 years as well.
Play Payday 3, I'd say.
When you're looking at Payday as it has been kind of taking shape and continues to
the paper
evolve,
gang.
It's not about Payday changing like this. It's more about Payday growing, and I also think of it as maturing, because every release that we do, we learn more about what works, what doesn't, and we also learn more about what Payday actually is and can be. And I think this is how we should see the life of the franchise. It's not as something that is changing and transforming. It's something that's growing and maturing.
Yeah, definitely. It's not like they're all going to be separate, isolated things. The Payday franchise is an ever-evolving, ever-expanding world that is constantly being added to in different forms of media, be it, you know, the stuff they do online for all the things they add to the lore, the live-action stuff, the actual games themselves, Payday Crime War. They're constantly evolving to it, so you can't really just make a completely separate entry, and that's why it's good to know that the OG4 will be back in Payday 3, because the whole franchise is built around this one kind of conglomeration of all these different characters and worlds and stories, and just building on it seems like a better tactic with future games than trying to do something completely different, you know what I mean? People are still playing the game. It's still constantly in some of the top played games in Steam every single day. There are tens of thousands of people logging in and playing the game. It's a really accessible game, and I think Oh my god, I thought I saw this in the corner of my eye. So clearly whoever's put this documentary together has just slid onto my Twitch, because I mentioned I was streaming Payday a lot, and just pulled up a couple of bits of clips from my most recent Twitch streams. And I love that they've took one that has my merch store link in the top left corner of the video. So now forever on Overkill's YouTube channel, if anyone ever goes to watch this documentary, the link to my merch store is sat there. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. The way that Payday 2 works and the way they release content and the way the community interacts with developers and all that stuff, it lends very well to a game running as long as Payday 2 has. I think if anything had been done any differently, you wouldn't have the game still getting active updates now, 8 years later. I stand by it. And then this! They took a picture of me walking away in my PJ pants with it saying "Be right back" on the screen. Why did they pick that? I don't understand the logic there, but either way, very cool just to have bits of my stream on there.
And moving forward, we have to kind of capture that essence of the game.
Yeah.
And put it into a new one, for example.
Even though we're here to celebrate the 10-year birthday, I don't think that we feel that there is a single gray hair or wrinkle on the franchise, so to speak. I think that all of us heisters,
wow, without the beard, he
both
looks
us
so
in
different.
in the studio and in the community, are excited right now about the years to come. And part of this has to do with the fact that it's no secret that we have gone through a rough couple of years, and we've been sticking through that. And when you do that and you come out of it, you definitely come out of it stronger.
Good. Good.
But I also think that you step out of it with the sense that you want to have done that for a reason. And I think that we're starting to sense right now, or not right now, I think that we have sensed since years ago that this is kind of happening, and this is kind of a little bit of a comeback, an underdog story.
It is, to be fair. You know, like I said it before, the fact they managed to even get out of that financial crisis at all is surprising in of itself, because it didn't seem like it seemed very touch and go for a while, I'll be honest with you. And that's why all the credit in the world has to go to Mikhail Nermark, who now, it's very weird to say, is no longer with us, but that man, what he did for the company when he became CEO again and steered the company back in the right direction after it had been going so wrong, he did so much for the company, and without him, I don't think Starbreeze would still be standing. So all the love and respect in the world has to go to Mikhail for all the work he put in, because him, and then obviously it isn't just him, but just to see the company come back after all the problems it faced is such a wonderful feeling, and to know that they've been through these dark times but are coming back stronger than ever is such a... It is a real underdog story, and I hope that Payday 3's launch is strong enough to really push that underdog attitude out and show them that, you know, there is a good reason that they came back. They made the best game in the Payday franchise that we've yet to see that ended up being a super successful launch. That's what we all want to see, and that's what we're hoping will happen in 2 years' time.
I am very excited for the future.
Aren't we all?
Constantly, you know, amazed of what we are doing with Payday 3, for example. We have playtests every week, and I look forward to them every time. I think it's so much fun, and that's odd. It's weird because usually that's not happening. You know, you build something. It's, you know, you don't really know if this is gonna work.
It's cool that they're already doing full playtests. I mean, I have no idea from a game developer's perspective how long into game development you start doing playtests, or how soon before release. Obviously, right now we're looking at roughly 2 years until the game comes out, and I guess it could be less, it could be more if they delay it. But, you know, like, it's so weird to think that they have a build of the game that in some way, shape, or form you can play weekly. That's so wild when we still know so little about the game. I know we've had a bit more news in the live stream that happened for the 10th anniversary, but it's really crazy to see that, you know, even though we're not seeing a great deal of it, we know that behind the scenes, Payday 3 is really cooking with gas. It's going to be exciting when they drop some big gameplay at some point to see it all really take shape.
But I feel like we have something. I feel like it's in the right direction. It has the essence of Payday, but it feels more modern. It feels nice, and yeah, every time very fun to play. I enjoy it so much. So I definitely think there's a future.
10 years is
Glad to
a
hear
really long time for any game, and we really do appreciate all the players out there who have played since launch, who have just come in and started playing, who's been playing it on and off. doesn't matter how little you play, as long as you have been in the community or are in the community, we really
I was wondering
do
if she was going to
appreciate
cry for a second there. Wow. No, yeah, it's true. This music that plays, I heard this. It's a proper emotional, like Life is Strange kind of thing playing here. But
thank you to Overkill, like I said, for making a game that allowed me to meet so many important people in my life. And for something where I can stream it and create content, thank you to the community for watching that content. And, you know, I've had a lot of growth in my relationships and my skills as a content creator through Payday, and I've just had so much fun meeting so many people through Payday, so.
I can't say there's any game I've ever played that has affected me so acutely as Payday has. Without this, we would
it's so nice to see all
be
this.
very different people.
This music is so weird in here. I kind of like it.
Are doing an amazing job. I'm very happy to see you here.
414. Let's go.
And Kenny.
Let's go. It's been
What a king.
a big part of my life. Yeah, like the friends and the community that I've sort of built around that have just been just like a core part of my life for like the longest time.
For me, one of the things that keeps like popping back up into my life is, I think, when like doing game design or doing any sort of like production design, Payday always comes into as examples.
We got a lot of things right for sure.
Yeah.
Damn right you did. Got
yeah,
so much
I'm
right.
proud of what we pulled off. 10 years
considering the circumstances.
I'd say it was a success.
I love those
Hello,
too.
Heisters. Welcome back to another developer update.
So happy to be here again this year.
Whenever we've experienced something as a company, as a game studio, the players, they've shared that journey with us. And I think, if anything, I'd like to give a shout out to them, the players out there who've shared that with us. Because it's been a great journey, and we're at the top, but we're only halfway up, right? There's always a new peak that we're gonna climb together, and I'm so looking forward to that. And Payday 3, of course.
Obviously, yeah. It's very beautifully edited. It's almost getting me a little bit. I love it. I think this is very, very well done, this episode. This is probably my favorite out of the 4, I'll be honest with you. I really, really like this. That was a bit corny with the heart, but still. Keep those helmets flying, the Payday team. Oh, nice, reversing the funeral. I like it. Everyone getting their masks back. Stay tuned. And there we have it. I presume that is the, yeah, there we go. Yeah, that is episode 4 of the Payday documentary. Definitely the best episode of the 4. Easily. I really, really, really enjoyed that. It's nice to kind of spend a bit of time looking to the future of the series and just talk about, you know, why it's so important that Payday 3 gets things right, you know, after everything that Overkill's been through and Starbreeze has been through and all the support the fans have shown. It'll be nice to finally reap the rewards of that, to see Payday 3 come out the door. And it's just nice to, like, kind of see everyone talk about it and be so pleasant and optimistic and reflective and so, you know, just really, really sweet about it. It's a nice, positive atmosphere to get off it, and I really like it. So, overall, I've really, really enjoyed the documentary. You'll know from my thoughts in episode... Well, it wasn't really my thoughts in episode 3, but I was saying after the episode 3 reaction that the only disappointment I've had from this series is that consoles was not really mentioned. In fact, actually, I don't think it was mentioned at all. And as I said, you know, I did talk about it a bit in some of my interviews, and they've obviously elected, whoever's decided to put this together, not to mention consoles, not to include anything I've said, not to even touch on it in any of the other interviews. I don't even know if in any of the other interviews consoles were mentioned, when Almir was talking, or Elizabeth, or any of the other people. But that's the only thing I would take away, is that I think that, you know, if you're going to spend time talking about the problems that companies had, especially the microtransactions, it feels like a bit of a slap in the face to not at least mention consoles, even briefly. So that's my only disappointment, is that wasn't acknowledged, because I feel like as a console player who also plays PC but would prefer to play on console if he could, it does feel a little bit alienating, just a little bit. So that's the only thing I would take away. But overall, the documentary was very, very well put together. Very, very interesting. Cool to see people like Ulf and Simon coming back and just getting to see all the different people from different aspects of the community, whether it's Almir, whether it's Eric or Elizabeth or the content creators. For me, myself, to be part of it is kind of wild. I mean, I can now say that I'm like the first person to speak in the whole documentary after Ulf and Simon. That's crazy. I speak in the documentary before Almir does. That's wild to me. So being a part of it was amazing. So thank you to Overkill and to the people who conducted the interviews as well for allowing me to be a part of it and arranging it. But that sums up the reactions, and thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed this reaction compilation for however long this video is, goodness knows, we must be going on about an hour at this point, but if you've enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. We greatly appreciate it, and subscribe if you are new to the channel to keep in touch with all future content on this channel. I will leave it all there. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all very soon with a brand new video. So until then, look after yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching.